OU that we do use at the end of English words.
OU that we do use at the end of English words.
Qua.
Qua.
The of early.
The of early.
X. X. Okay. So by the end of kindergarten, they have gone over all of those 72 phonograms. If your child has been here since kindergarten, then those phonograms are a review. If your child is new, then they're having to learn those as they go. So now I'm going to teach you a spelling word. Okay, so the spelling word is telephone. How many syllables? How many times does your jaw drop when you say telephone?
3.
Good, 3 syllables. First syllable, tell, sounds in tell. Okay, we're going to use 3 phonograms. E, and O. Class, what 3 phonograms?
E, O.
Good, pick up your pencil. Say it as you write it. Ready, and go.
E,
O. Syllable break. So your student would be writing in their orthography notebook. Okay, then their pencils would be back down. Okay, next syllable, E. We're going to use E. What are we going to use?
E.
Okay, this has a rule with it. Vowels sounded alone form their own syllable. Say that with me. Vowels sounded alone form their own syllable. Good, pick up your pencil. Say it as you write it. Ready, and go. E, syllable break. Okay, last syllable. Phone, sounds in phone. O, that's what we hear. We're going to use Greek. What are we going to use?
Greek.
This O, we're going to use A, O, U. What are we going to use?
A, O, U.
And we have But what's coming at the end to make this A, O, U say its second sound? Shout it out.
Silent final E.
Job 1 makes the vowel say its second sound or name. Good, put the phonograms over my fingers. A, O, U, silent final E. Good, pick up your pencil. Say it as you write it. Ready, and go. O, silent final E, job 1. Makes a vowel say its second sound or name. Excellent. Okay, put your pencils back down. Be in scholar position. You're going to look at the board. You're going to say the phonograms as they appear on the board. Ready, and go.
O, syllable break. E, syllable break. O, silent final E, job 1. Makes the vowel say its second sound or name.
Good. Okay, my red marker's in my hand. Your pencil's in yours. I want you to nod when you see a marking. Good. What do we need to do? Underline E and
put a thinking cap over at E.
different marker. Okay, so we're going to underline it because it's making it's a vowel that's making a second sound, and in the rhythm of speech we say tell a phone, but we're going to think to spell tell e phone. So this is going to help us remember to spell E instead of a. Good. What do I need to do here?
Underline Greek.
Good. We're going to underline this because it's a 2-letter phonogram. This isn't saying p, it's saying it's making one sound. Okay, then we have a rule here. Vowel, consonant, silent, final, E, job 1. Makes the vowel say its second sound or name. Good, class. How many markings do we have? Okay, and they're holding up 6 fingers. Okay, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I say, does your word look like my word?
Yes, ma'am.
Is your word marked like my word?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then we have rules that go along with this. So say it with me. When a single consonant comes between 2 vowels or vowel sounds,
Comes between 2 vowels or vowel sounds.
it's usually divided after the consonant
It's usually divided after the consonant.
if the first vowel is short.
If the first vowel is short.
Vowels sounded alone form their own syllable.
Vowels sounded alone form their own syllables.
Good. Now, that would be one word. Remember, your child has 4 to 6 a day. However, we have lots of time to review during the day. They have at least 2 times, sometimes more than that, to review their words during the day. The reason I chose this word is because it is a Greek word. It is actually a combination of 2 Greek words, and in 4th and 5th grade, students learn Greek and Latin roots. So we teach them that our words actually have certain meanings to them. So this is 2 Greek words, tele, meaning far away, and phone, that means to talk. So a telephone is a device that lets somebody talk from far away. And when students realize that they actually have meanings to what it means within different languages, they realize that these Greek and Latin languages help to form the foundation of our English language. So that is all I have for spelling.
About the literature that we learn in 3rd through 5th grade. And I want to give you kind of an example of what that literature looks like as we teach it to our students. So classical education really values these rich stories that we teach our students. We're not just reading stories for the sake of reading comprehension, but we read really beautiful literature because it supports our history curriculum, and it also helps us to really understand the virtues that we value at our school. So in 3rd grade, our students will read a lot of different stories, but one of the main ones that our 3rd graders love is Black Beauty. And so students will explore ideas like respect and kindness as they journey through Black Beauty's life from beginning to end. In 4th grade, our students will read stories like Robin Hood and King Arthur. We studied medieval history in 4th grade as well. And students learn about things like the Code of Chivalry, that the knights around King Arthur's round table would take this very special vow to protect other people, to protect the weak, to be a virtuous person that pursues justice. In 4th grade, we also study the founding of our country. So we'll explore the American Revolution, and we'll read Johnny Tremaine and get a better understanding as to how the founding fathers felt as they were beginning to start this incredible war. In 5th grade, our students read stories like Wind in the Willows. They read The Secret Garden. They meet characters like Mary Lennox, who's not a really likable character at the beginning. She's kind of a spoiled kid, but through that journey with her, they really learn what it means to be a good friend. And so at Founders, we read pretty challenging texts. They're pretty high above our students' reading level, but these are such worthwhile stories that these are the best stories that we could be reading together. So I want to look at an example. I'm going to have our teachers be our students to give you an idea as to what a discussion in literature might look like. So we're going to use Anne of Green Gables as an example. In the story, our main character, Anne Shirley, is an orphan living with Matthew and Marilla, and she has just come back from a very exciting concert with her best friend Diana Barry, and the two are excited to sleep in the spare bedroom, having a sleepover together. They've just spent a night being very grown up and dressed up, and as they run to the spare bedroom, they're very surprised to find in the bed Aunt Josephine, who is Diana's very grumpy, mean aunt, and the girls are mortified that she is there. She's very upset. And we read in the story about how Anne has this incredible courage to meet with Aunt Josephine the next day and actually apologize to her. And so after that exchange, Anne reflects to Marilla in one of my favorite paragraphs in Anne of Green Gables. And I'm going to read it to y'all now, and then we'll ask the teachers some questions about it. She says, Miss Barry, so Aunt Josephine, was a kindred spirit after all, Anne confided to Marilla. You wouldn't think so to look at her, but she is. You don't find it right out at first, as in Matthew's case, but after a while you come to see it. Kindred spirits are not so scarce as I used to think. It's splendid to find out there are so many of them in the world. So as we read through our stories, we have these great discussions about virtue, and we go through this story together. And so asking my teachers, give you an example of what some of these questions might look like. What do you think a kindred spirit might mean in the context of this story? Ms. Philbeck?
A kindred spirit is a true friend.
A true friend, good. And we have so many examples in 4th grade and in 3rd and 5th grade literature of what it means to be a true friend. Why do you think Anne might be surprised that Aunt Josephine would be a kindred spirit? What do we know about Aunt Josephine that maybe would be surprising? Mr. McDaniel?
She's grumpy.
She's grumpy.
She's a grumpy old lady.
Absolutely. She's a very grumpy old lady. So this leads to a great discussion with 4th graders about how when I first meet someone, right, that might not be who they truly are. So giving people a second chance, getting to understand them. We learn later in the story, Aunt Josephine is actually not just a grumpy old lady, she's actually a really lonely character in need of a good friend. So it's an example of what our literature discussions might look like in 3rd through 5th. I'm going to now introduce Ms. Pastrano to come and give us a demonstration on what Singapore math looks like in 3rd through 5th grade.
Hi, good evening. I'm just going to kind of run through what a math lesson would look like. And it's going to look a little bit differently in the different grade levels, but one common theme that we all have is that we're looking for the why. So when we're doing math, we're not trying to memorize steps. I know a lot of us were taught how to memorize all the steps and how that looks in school. So it's a little bit hard to sometimes see the why. But in a word problem, so we use bar models, and I'm sure you have seen your kiddos, those of you that have kiddos that have been here, bring home the bar models. But we have this template that we use, and I'm not going to run through the whole problem because it's way more than 5 minutes, but we ask them to do a few different things. So as you see here, at the beginning, they're going to be asked to draw their bar models. They're also going to be asked to show their work. So they're not just doing one step, they're doing multiple steps to solve a problem. So, and then as you can see at the top, we also ask them to go through the word problem. And we go through it with them and we underline and circle the important parts in a word problem. But if we had a word problem, I'm just going to give you an example, and we'll just work through one part of this word problem. So if I were to be doing this in the classroom, I would have the word problem up on the board. They would have a copy of it in front of them. And this problem says, at the carnival, 9 friends bought 214 tickets. If they all want to split the tickets so that each friend got the same amount, how many more tickets would they need to buy? So we're just going to work through the first part of this problem. So we would go along and circle the information that we need. And remember, it says 9 friends bought 214 tickets. So the first thing I need to do is find out how many tickets each friend would get. And so I would ask the class, what information was I given? What information is 214 and what information is 9 friends? So what information is 214? That is my what?
Whole.
Your whole. And then the 9 friends is your groups. Right? So what do we do with our whole and our groups? When we know that we have a whole and groups, what operation are we performing? Division, right? So when we look at our division problem, we're going to take 214 and divide it by 9. I don't know if you guys can see that. Maybe a darker marker. Hopefully you guys can see that. I think you can. All right. So the first thing we're going to do when we're dividing is understand that when I am dividing, I am literally just taking 9s out of 214. And I'm trying to find out how many times can I take 9 out of 214. So the first step that I'm going to say is I'm going to say, can I take any 9s out of 2? No. But can I take it out of 21?
Yes.
How many times can I take 9 out of 21?
Twice.
But this is not 2. What is the value of this 2? 20. So I am doing 20 times 9. What is 20 times 9?
180.
So this is what I have. And normally, I forgot to do it this way, but normally I would do this part in red so that I can understand this is what I have, 214. This is what I'm taking away. And then what am I left with when I take away 180 from 214?
34.
So now I have 34 left over. Can I still take any 9s out?
Yes.
Yes. How many 9s can I take out of 34?
3.
If I take 3 9s, what is the value of 3 9s?
27.
So now I have 34. I'm taking away 27. Now what am I left with?
7.
Can I take any more 9s out of 7?
No.
So this becomes my remainder. I can no longer take 9s out. So as you can see, we're not drawing arrows to bring down numbers. We are showing them why this number is coming down here. We're showing that this is the value of this number is 20. It is not a 2, it is a 20. So when I take out 29s, the value of 29s is 180. And it just helps them to retain the information. If they understand why they're doing something, it helps them to work out other problems. They're not just memorizing steps to a certain equation. So that was the math lesson.
My name is Mrs. Willett, and I'm the assistant headmaster for grammar school. That's for kindergarten through 5th grade. So I'm really glad I've met many of you. I'm really glad to see you tonight, and thank you for joining us. All right. So in kindergarten at Founders, we believe that education brings liberty. Abigail Adams said, learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and attended to with diligence. In our literature instruction, we focus on appreciating beautiful writing and helping our students to enter into the world created by the author. We also focus on virtue through our reading, and we ask the big questions of life. One of my favorite things about teaching Robin Hood when I was teaching 4th grade is that I would ask the students, what does it mean to be a hero? What makes a hero? Is Robin Hood a hero? And why do we think that? And I always enjoyed hearing what the students wrestled with this idea, because he did steal, but they saw that he was doing things for good reasons. And so they kind of wrestle with that idea. And that's what we want to do with our students, is help them to wrestle with some of these big ideas through our literature, which is wonderful. Some of the literature that your students will read in 3rd grade through 5th grade include Farmer Boy, The Jungle Book, Princess and the Goblin, Robin Hood, King Arthur, Johnny Tremaine, Anne of Green Gables, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, Tom Sawyer, The Secret Garden, and The Wind in the Willows. In history, we use the core knowledge sequence for our curriculum. The first semester focuses primarily on world history, and the second semester focuses on American history, hence the name Founders. 3rd graders learn about Rome, the Vikings, and the 13 colonies. The 4th graders learn about medieval history, China, Africa, the Islamic culture, American Revolution, and the Constitution. The 5th graders learn about the Renaissance, Russia, Japan, and the Civil War, among some other topics that they also learn. In our science curriculum, we want to help instill a sense of wonder in our students about the world around them. In 3rd grade, the students are learning about ecology, light, astronomy, and 2 of the human body systems. 4th grade also learns about 2 of the human body systems, and then geology, meteorology, and chemistry. In 5th grade, the students are learning about plant and animal cells, life cycles, and chemistry. We emphasize hands-on learning through activities and labs and the history of science. We want our students to understand the story of scientific development. Our math program follows the Singapore model. We want to teach our students to be problem solvers and critical thinkers. And one of the ways that we do that is through bar modeling, like Ms. Pastrana was talking to you about. We love math and realize that math is important for its own sake. And it also helps us to see beauty in the world and demonstrates absolute truth. In math, there's always a right answer and a wrong one. Our Access Literacy program is a multisensory explicit phonics program. By learning the 76 phonograms, students are able to apply those to spell thousands of words and to become proficient spellers throughout their life. Our well-ordered language program helps students to learn how to analyze and diagram sentences, which helps to create a strong sense of syntax in our students so they become wonderful writers as well. We also learn Greek and Latin roots starting in fourth grade, which helps our students to have a better understanding of the English language and then prepares them for success as they move on and learn other languages later in life. Art and music is also a priority at Founders. The students attend daily either art or music. We believe that art and music help to draw our students to appreciate beauty and builds cultural literacy in our students. Beauty draws our students to seek truth, and truth leads them to the good. In the tradition of the Greeks, we value both physical and intellectual aptitude. Unlike the Greeks, we always exercise with our clothes on, but our program is very rigorous. We know that sometimes our students struggle a little bit because it is a very difficult program. In third grade, our students start to run the mile, as the Texas program suggests. But we believe that this hard work helps to create the virtue of fortitude in our students. And they start to feel a sense of confidence as they achieve new feats in their physical activity. Physical activity also helps to add to their emotional well-being, which is important in the world that we live in today. Our Bonavite program is one in which we focus explicitly on virtues each month. Each month on Spirit Day, we focus on a single virtue and read a story together with our class from the Book of Virtues. I'll send a letter home to you parents so that you can talk with your students about what they've learned and what they've read, and you can have those conversations with them. Some of the virtues that we'll study this year are fortitude, temperance, integrity, honor, responsibility, gratefulness, compassion, prudence, humility, justice, and courage. If it sounds like a lot, that's because it is, but they're all very important, so we want to focus on those. While we take our work very seriously, we also like to have fun, and one of the ways that we do that is through our Arete, or Virtue Shields program. This is a friendly competition between the grades in which the classes compete to earn one of these shields to put above their door. The shields are the Charity or Caritas Shield, our Poesis Shield, in which the students are performing poetry recitations as a class, and they earn points for that. Our Temperance Shield, in which the students are competing to see which class can show the most temperance at lunchtime, which is probably one of the more difficult times to show temperance. And so we appreciate that. And our Deer Flag, in which the students are completing deer slips, and whichever class has the most, they earn the flag. Speaking of our DEAR program, we have the DEAR program that we want to promote excitement and love for reading in our students. DEAR stands for Drop Everything and Read. And we want to make sure that we are readers and lifelong learners. It's a very simple program. All the students have to do is to read for 20 minutes and write a summary. They turn that into their teacher and they're able to earn points. You'll see some of these prizes have point values written on the prize, and that's how many deer slips they have to turn in order to earn the prize. We have updated that a little bit, that we'll be sending out the new totals to you soon. As I told you before, we do take our work very seriously, and we want to dress the part. So we do have a dress code that includes our Land's End uniforms. We believe that this helps to promote equality. We want our students not to express themselves through the clothing that they wear, but from the things that they have to say, from their thoughts, their ideas, and their actions. On Spirit Days, they do get to wear a pair of jeans and their founders t-shirts. So pay attention to when you get to do that. That's on the last Friday of every month. And we have a couple other things I want to tell you about. One of those is our curriculum celebrations. Once every quarter, our grade levels work together to plan an opportunity for students to further explore and enjoy an aspect of the curriculum. They plan hands-on games and activities so that the students can try to enter into the world which they've been studying about. And also after school, we also have our co-curriculars, which are opportunities for students to get involved in some fun activities that you can sign up for your student and pay for them to join those. Some of those include husbandry, piano and voice, tabletop games, archery, entomology, and many more. Thank you for joining us. And now my lead teachers are going to come talk to you a little bit about homework expectations for each grade level.
Okay, so in third grade, we have the homework assignments written on the board. We give time in the day for students to take out their planners and to copy down the assignments so their planner mirrors my assignment board, or all three of the third grade teachers' assignment boards. Not only that, but in Jupiter Ed, there is a calendar function. The calendar function also mirrors the assignments in Jupiter Ed. So every day we would like you as parents to look at your child's planner and correlate the assignments. If they have this math workbook page, Johnny, let me see the math workbook page, and you guys can work through it together. Or your child needs to work on it on their own, but you can need to check it afterwards to make sure that their answers are correct. If they're not, have them correct them, go over some of the concepts, and if you want, you can kind of circle those so that we know as teachers that, hey, my child struggled with this answer last night, and we can help to reinforce that learning. Homework should take about 30 minutes. And that does not include 30 minutes of reading. So altogether an hour, but the actual homework assignments other than the reading should take about 30 minutes. Homework can include a combination of math, science, or history. Sometimes it's just studying notes, and sometimes it's an actual page that they need to do. When they have those pages in science and history, they need to utilize their notes, because those are usually fill in the blank answers or multiple choice answers that come straight from their notes. So they do need to use their notes for that as well. Every week in third grade, your child will also be given an A to Z book. It's a little paper book and some comprehension questions to go along with that book that will be in their red folder. That book is usually assigned on Monday, and it's due on Friday. So make sure by Thursday night those questions are due. Friday, we take some time and we go over those answers and why the correct answer is the correct answer, as opposed to why the wrong answers aren't correct. So we take some time to really look at the strategies and how to answer questions like that when we read. Now, Ms. Keene is going to come up and talk about fourth grade homework expectations.
So fourth grade looks very similar to third grade, you'll notice. We also have students utilizing the planner. So every morning they'll write their homework down in the correct date. And as fourth grade teachers, we'll walk around and make sure that students are filling it out correctly. We do ask that parents make sure to just briefly check over the planner each night, initial, just so that we know that you see what kind of homework they have. It helps us to have that strong communication back and forth. We'll also be, as Mrs. Dement said, putting that homework in the Jupiter Ed calendar, and it should match their planner so that you're able to see it and check and make sure they have the correct homework written down. In fourth grade, students will read several pages in our literature book each night, and sometimes that can even be over the weekend. Students will have a math packet they'll complete over the week, due on Friday. And then for 2 days, they will study history, and 2 days they'll study science. So Monday and Wednesday, students will take home their history notebook. They'll study their notes again and write a summary at the bottom of the note page. And then science will be Tuesday and Thursday. They'll take the notes home, study, and then write a summary at the bottom. Fourth grade students will also be having study guides. They'll be given a study guide a week before the assessment. And then in their planner, they'll write that they have a study guide and that's something they have the week to complete. So we ask that if fourth grade students maybe are having trouble in the study guide, make sure your student circles the one they're not sure about, ask the teacher the next day so that we can be giving you as much support at home as you need. Fourth grade homework should take about 40 minutes plus the 30 minutes of reading per night. So making sure that our students have time to also read the literature out loud because it really helps with their fluency. In the planner, us fourth grade teachers have given your students on the back, I don't know if you can see that very well, but we've given them kind of a guide as to which assessments they'll have on which days because we spread it out throughout the week, and just a little idea of what their studying homework might look like. So that kind of gives you an idea as to what quiz or which assessment is coming per week so that students can be preparing. And so Ms. Fistrano will come up and speak about fifth grade expectations.
All right, so fifth grade looks a lot like third grade and fourth grade. We still have the planners. You're still checking the planners nightly, initialing that you've seen them. That just helps us to know that we're communicating the things to you that you need to know. You can also use the Jupiter Ed calendar. It will mimic their planner. So if you ever have questions, is my child writing everything down in the planner? You can always go to the Jupiter Ed calendar to make sure that all the assignments are written on there. And then I'll also give you an explanation of what I'm looking for in the homework, because I know that a lot of times they don't go home and tell you exactly what it is that they're supposed to do, or they've forgotten by the time they get home. So I'll give you guys a little explanation on what I want that homework to look like. I want them to be able to tell you what it looks like, but I know that that doesn't always happen. Fifth graders should be working about 50 minutes on actual homework, and that's on top of the 30 minutes. So you're looking at about an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half that your students should be working on assignments. Now, we try to limit it to a math worksheet, which you should see one every single night, except for Fridays. And then mostly it's note summaries. So it just depends on how long it takes them to write their note summaries. Their note summary should be about 3 sentences long. And they are, anytime that they have new notes in their notebooks, you'll see a note summary. If we've just reviewed or if they've taken a test, then you won't see that that night for homework. Literature is normally over the weekend, and it'll be reading a chapter or so over a weekend, or you might see something that they have to write into their literature notebooks. I think that's it. All right, so, and on top of that, I want to talk about communication and how you guys across the board communicate with us teachers. The best way to do that is through Jupiter Ed. We do use Parent Square, but that's mainly just for announcements. We'll blast announcements out. Your newsletter will be there, but we'd prefer that you don't reach out through Parent Square because we don't always see that. So the best way to do it is to email us through Jupiter Ed. Remember that emails are not answered on the weeknights or on weekends. It's normal business hours, and just give us 48 hours. And if you haven't heard back, I would try reaching out one more time. You know, maybe something happened in the communication. And now Mrs. Keene will come up and talk to you guys.
Okay, I'm back. I wanted to speak briefly about how we view discipline at Founders, because oftentimes I've spoken with parents or other people that aren't familiar with classical education, and there can sometimes be kind of a misunderstanding as to how we view discipline. So there's a reason we have our students wear the shield on their uniform. We start with the virtues, right? We learn about charity, temperance, fortitude. These are our goals that we want our students to understand. And then we give our students very, very clear expectations. So every classroom in kinder through fifth grade follows the same set of classroom rules and expectations. So we expect students to raise their hands. In class, we expect them to follow directions the first time the teacher gives them, to show respect to other people and their property, to work quietly, and to keep their hands, feet, and objects to themselves. If students maybe have trouble following these expectations, then we use our clip chart. So every student will start the day on green, which is ready to learn. This is where we want our students to be. This is a student that is following expectations the way that they should. Sometimes, and it's common, every student may move their clip down. And our next spot is to think about it. So this would be for a student that maybe needs to reflect more at recess and have a conversation with the teacher about the choice that they made. Sometimes students may need more support at home, and the teacher may need to contact you and maybe work together to understand how to prevent a certain behavior, a certain choice. And then our last spot on the clip chart is for the office, speaking with Mrs. Willett or Ms. Sanderlin. We really want students to understand that the clip chart is a tool. We want our students to understand decision making. So oftentimes students will come home and they'll be very focused on the color that they ended the day with, but we really want them to understand the purpose of moving your clip down is to understand the choice that you're making and learn how to not make the same choice again. So we have kind of the discipline side, but we also have a lot of positive moments where we recognize great behavior. So we have a special spot on the clip chart, our virtue star. Students that do an amazing job in class, they exceed expectations, they show charity to a neighbor, or they do a great job in a certain subject. They may get to move up on our clip chart, and we celebrate those students for what they've done. As Mrs. Willett said before, we also have a Temperance Shield at lunch and a Charity Shield as well. And so when we have these moments of recognizing positive behavior, and then we also help students to learn from maybe negative choices, what we're doing is we're leading our students to desire what's good. So we really want them to seek out what's good, what's positive, and to understand and learn from maybe the negative choices that they make. Not every student will end every day on blue. We really want to keep it a special position, so students are really working towards that. And then I'm going to introduce Mrs. Dement to come back up again to give us an understanding of how you can support your student at home.
Okay, hello again. So the first thing I want to say is we as teachers understand that the most influential people in our students' lives are you as their parents. And as that, we know that you want to support your child to the best of your ability. So one of the things that I can say is to start a conversation with your child on the way home. One of the things I ask my own children is, tell me one thing that you learned that was new today. And start a conversation out like that. We very much want to bring in these virtues. So you might want to ask them, well, did learning about Julius Caesar today, did that teach you any kind of virtue? So we bring those virtues in all of our areas, not just literature, but in history and science and everything that we do. As far as homework specifically, the best thing you can do is just be involved during homework time. Check over your child's homework for mistakes, have them redo it, go over missed concepts if they need them, reach out to us and let us know that they had trouble. Quiz your students on their notes. And I left my notebook. Mrs. Walker, can you hand that to me? Okay, so every day in 3rd through 5th, students will write notes in their Cornell notes. And they look a lot like this, where they have terms on one side of their Cornell line and definitions on the other. So students will write these as we write them on the board. So we shine our notes on the board. Usually they're blank notes, and we write and they write as we write. So they're writing the exact information that we're writing. When we ask them to study their notes at home, we don't necessarily just want them to read over it. We want you to quiz them on it. So one of the best things that you can do is have your child fold over their paper so they can just see the terms and quiz themselves first. If they can answer that taxonomy is the study of classifying animals, and then they can check it themselves, then they can bring it to you and say, quiz me. And then you can ask them. The best way that I found as a parent is to you as a parent ask the definitions and see if your child can give you the terms. Sometimes you might have to use some note cards to give the kids a word bank if you have the notes. But quizzing your children over their notes is one of the best ways that you can help them succeed. Any history and science quiz, test, anything that we take is going to come straight from those notes. If they study their notes 5 minutes, 10 minutes every night, or every other night, depending on what their homework schedule is, they probably won't have any problem on tests and quizzes. Flashcards for math facts are also a very good thing that you can use. Math facts are the foundation of our math. If they don't understand math facts, then they're missing the baseline. If they understand their math facts, that's usually step one in a 3, 4, or 5 step problem. So knowing their math facts very much helps. Some math websites that are helpful, especially to understand concepts. If you're having a hard time getting your child to understand a certain concept, you can look them up on a website called khanacademy.com. It's a great website that will teach them certain concepts. You can also utilize studyisland.com. If you don't remember your password or you're new to the school, you don't know your child's password, reach out to their teacher and they can get with you and get their password. That also has some math and reading tools on there to help. Another website is Quizlet.com. You can create virtual flashcards, and then Quizlet will play games with those. Those are really good for any science or history terms and for Greek and Latin roots. The other thing I want to talk about as far as success for our students is tutoring. At Founders, almost every single student, if not every single student in class, is in some sort of tutoring group. In 3rd through 5th grade, we have to take the STAR test. We don't want to sacrifice our classical curriculum to teach to the STAR test, and we're not going to do that. So we utilize tutoring not to teach to the STAR test, but to give them the tools and the strategies to be able to be successful on the STAR. So we do that in tutoring. That tutoring can happen before school. Some of it can happen during school, and at times it will happen after school. So in order to partner with us and help us out to help your child be successful in that, it would be very helpful if you could support us by getting your child to tutoring on time, especially if they have morning tutoring. And that is all I have for homework help. I'm now going to introduce Mrs. Willis, who's going to talk about the Hoplite Council.
Hi, that's me. I'm going to go ahead and present. Y'all hang tight. I know we're here, but I'm going to tell you who won the Carline VIP. So it's worth hanging on, I promise. Okay, let me show you. We'll pull up my presentation. Okay, so real quick, I'm Amy Willis. I am the treasurer for the Hoplite Council. This is my 2nd year on the board, and I just want to very quickly tell you about us and ways that you can help support the school as a parent outside of the classroom. So we are the parent organization. It's kind of like the PTA hands. It went too fast. It's like a PTA, but without the government. So we are a nonprofit organization. We're dedicated to our school specifically. We do that 2 ways. We help fundraise and we volunteer. We do not have membership fees. Every single one of you as a parent or guardian are part of the Hoplite Council already. You don't have to apply. You don't have to do anything other than exist within our community, which is fantastic. We serve at the pleasure of the school. So it is not a power sharing organization. We help and do as we are requested to do. Okay, we have, so as I said, I'm the treasurer. We have 4 other officers, a chairman, a couple officers, and committee chairs that are voting members. And then we have some project managers who help us out in different ways. You can find information about each of those people on our website, which I'll have attached to the slide a little bit later. One of the first ways that we help is fundraising. I'm going to quickly tell you how we do that. So why we ask parents to give, if you aren't familiar with the funding gap between charter schools and regular public ISDs, we receive about $1,700 less per student than the traditional local ISDs. There's a variety of reasons for that and a lot of information on the web. We actually have some information on our site as well if you want to learn some more about why that happens. So we are trying to fill that gap. To determine how we use the money that we raise, we actually take everything that you parents tell us and work with the school to create a plan for what we're going to do with the funds. So for those who've been here for a little bit, at the end of the year, we put out a survey, and I wanted to share some of the results from the one that we did in May. So we had 83 people who responded, and that told us that our highest priorities are academic, clubs, and fine arts. That helps us talk to the school about ways that we can disperse the funds to fit what it is that y'all tell us is most important. And then some of the other things on here, we learned that teacher appreciation is really important for our lower school parents, and upper school parents are pretty focused on student and community events. One of the things we also heard was to do more open council meetings, which as soon as that is safe and possible, we intend to do that, and you can find out more information by following us. I'll show you our website here in a minute. Okay, then the school gives us a list of requests that they're looking for. Last year, our big request was the library project, and I am very, very happy to say that as of today, we have ordered the first amount of supplies for that phase. So that will be coming to fruition really quickly. And then we also help with the DEAR incentives, the prizes that your students bring home, and anything else that is needed for the academic classroom. There is some co-curricular and athletic support. We're going to look at maybe trying to do bleachers for the fields in the back, and then fine arts equipment as needed. Our goal is $10 per student each month, $120 per student for the year. We have 650 enrolled students, and we are looking for 100, but that's the estimate. I don't know the actual number. I know it's quite within that range. And we are hoping for 100% participation. If you can give more, please consider doing so. If we raise that money, then that will give us that option to get all of these things done that the school has asked of us. The way that you can do that, here's our website up on the top right. Founders Keepers is our giving program, and there are a few ways that you can help us fundraise. Give Lively is our monthly recurring donation or one-time gifts. Like I said, $10 per student or a one-time gift, and you can find the widget to get to Give Lively on our website if you go to svahoplites.org. You can also do check or cash donations. You can give them to the front office who will put it in our mailbox, and then we can take that, or you can mail it to the school. And then if you have an employer who does matching programs, you can reach out to me and I'll help you work through how to get all of that set up. We also have the Carline VIP. So this one, these passes, it's those 4 spots that are right in front of the school. So you get to bypass Carline at the end of the day, and your student will be brought out to your car. So we give away 2 passes, and we have a virtual auction for 2 passes. So in order to get a pass from the giveaway, you are automatically entered if you're a donor for Founders Keepers. And we have just chosen our winners for the fall. So that is the Perez family and the Tijerina family. These will go into effect on Tuesday, and we'll send you some information through email tonight, but starting Tuesday, you'll be able to pick up your students in your VIP spot. We have 2 more passes that are available for auction. So if you really wanted it and you didn't win it, you can go to our auction and bid on that. It'll be open through Friday, and we'll announce those winners this weekend. Again, you can find that information on our website, which is fvahoplites.org. Some other ways that you can help out are what we call passive giving options. So once you sign up for Amazon Smile, you will automatically, any items that are eligible, a portion of the profits will go to our school. We get a check from Amazon every quarter or so. I think last year we raised over $800 just by the purchases y'all normally make, which is fantastic. There's also the PayPal Giving Fund and the Box Tops program. There's more information and links about how to do these and how to set them up on our site. So if you go there, you can find a little bit more information for each one of those and a walkthrough on how to make that work. Some other opportunities, we help with Penny Wars. That's one of our big fundraisers in the spring, and it is a student favorite. More information on that comes out about the month before we start that. And then we also have the bricks outside of the front entrance. You can qualify for one of those automatically if you've given a certain amount of money, or if you just really want a brick, you can go ahead and reach out to us and do a one-time donation. to get a brick and we can get that taken care of. We also have a lot of art throughout the building, and you can dedicate those pieces in whatever name you want to. All of that information is on the site and what pieces are available. Once you've chosen it, we put a plaque beneath it that will stay with that piece of art. And then if you are a business owner or know businesses who want to sponsor events or certain things on campus, we're also happy to work through that with our business friends. Okay, the second half that I mentioned is volunteering. So first and foremost, any volunteers who are on campus have to have an approved background check from the school. The way to fill out that application is on the foundersshirts.com page, and it's one of the links on there. Once that's done, then you can help out with volunteering options that include being a part of our teacher appreciation committee. You can help with concessions or admissions at our athletics events. We also have a grant research and writing team. If you are familiar with that process, we are always looking for people to help us identify grants that we can apply for to help the school. And then we also have some events coming up throughout the year where we will need help coordinating or just being there on campus. So those are some great ways to help out. And the best way to find out about everything that's coming and what we're going to do is to stay in touch with us. But the easiest way to do that is to sign up for our newsletter. We send this out maybe once a week, every 2 weeks. We're not going to inundate you. It'll be a lot of information at once. We will post on social with some of the things that we have. So you can look for our page on Facebook or Instagram and just check back on our website. We'll put new information up there as often as possible. I really appreciate everybody staying to hang out and listen to this. We look forward to working with y'all this year.
Thank you, Mrs. Willis, so much for presenting to us about the Hoplite Council. Thank you, families, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate that you took the time out of your schedule to come and be here tonight. So we wish you the best. If you have any questions for myself or for your teachers, please feel free to send us a message through Jupiter Ed, and we'll be happy to get back to you soon. Have a great night, and thank you again.